lies and what you know about Christianity as it happened, you can compare it with the history of Ahmadiyyat very easily and the present situation of Ahmadiyya. You know, Christianity was opposed more vehemently, if anything, than Ahmadiyyat was opposed by the people at the time of Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Islam. More vehemently also in the sense that the atrocities committed against the early Christians were far more grievous and beastly than the atrocities committed against Ahmadis. Of course, there are so many atrocities committed against Ahmadis, but in comparison, they are paled. You know, they were put to death by being presented to the wild beast in arenas, and they were burnt alive in their homes in large numbers. The same attempts were made against Ahmadis, but God saved them from being burnt alive. That is a different story. But altogether, to sum up this long history of persecution and God's treatment, we can say one thing for certain. During all the phases of revived persecution and renewed persecution against Christianity, there did not dawn a single day in the history of Christianity when Christianity was pulverized and reduced and rendered powerless. In the face of all this atrocity, it continued to march forward, continued to gain greater following, and emerge larger rather than smaller through the middle of persecution. Now this is a living history. There is something for which you don't have to go to the books. This is exactly as you see history emerging to the present times. We do not trust books for this. We know Christianity has almost conquered the whole world. So if this claim was not right, how could there be Christianity today found in such power and grandeur? So that is what I mean, the living history. And similarly apply the same principle to the history of Ahmadiyyat, and the living history of Ahmadiyyat would repeat exactly the same thing. Every attempt to destroy Ahmadiyyat kicked back on the enemies, and every attempt was frustrated by God and resulted in exactly the opposite results, in exactly the opposite consequences of that persecution. I was turned out of, practically, literally, by the government of Pakistan during Zia's time, 10 years ago. And the spread of Ahmadiyyat has increased by last year, I'm talking about last year, this year it will be more, by a factor of 50 times during those 9 years passed during the last, till the last annual gathering of Ahmadiyya community here in UK. So 9 years of exile brought us such great success that instead of having 5,000 Ahmadis converted per year, we got 200,000 Ahmadis converted in 1 year and more. And this year I hope inshallah the pace will increase to about 100 times. So this is what Allah does to us. That is what the enemies do to us. And if you compare us with the early history of Christianity, you will find that the comparison is, if at all, to our advantage. In the first 100 years of Christianity, it had spread to around a score of countries, not more. But in the first 100 years of Ahmadiyya history, we have spread to 140 countries of the world. We have emerged as a much more formidable and reckonable power than Christianity was at the end of its first century. So this is a short answer to your question.
Okay.
I hope it would satisfy Your query?
Likely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just on what you are saying, say about the people changing over to Ahmadi. Is it only from the Islamia side or both Islamia
from
and
every
Christian?
side, of course. Yeah. From pagans, from Christians, largely from Christians nowadays from Africa.
Do we have pagans?
Huh?
Do we have pagans?
Well, I'm not often, I don't remember, but in every country these figures are not secrets.
Okay.
They're open, they're published, they're announced, and every year they're announced on Jalsa Salana through television to all the world. So there is nothing, no hanky-panky going on under the surface, I assure you. We are proud of our honesty and truth, and we do not hide things from the rest of the world. You know, once I was warned by somebody that you are announcing the successes of Ahmadiyyat in large numbers on television, and you know there are very powerful governments against Ahmadiyyat. They would begin to influence those countries and they will start a counter movement, and you may lose whatever you have gained. So please don't tell these figures. Like you suspected, perhaps we would hide these figures. I said, no. It is God who is doing it, and how can they frustrate the designs of God? Let them do whatever they please. I am going to tell the whole world the blessings of Allah which are being showered upon us. And I quoted one verse of the Holy Quran, particularly admonishing us to adopt such an attitude. In one verse in Surah Duha, Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is ordered by Allah, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. When God shows His blessings to you, showers His blessings upon you, don't keep them to yourself. Announce them, broadcast them, hadith, relate them to others. So I said, this is the instruction to my holy master. So through him, I am also to follow the same instruction. So I will not hide things from enemies, lest they should do us harm. Let them do whatever they please. Please.
All right.
Thank you.
Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Your Holiness, my question has been a long, burden one on me. My question to you, Your Holiness, is there any verse in the Holy Quran that says a woman is unfit to rule? For example,
woman cannot rule?
Cannot rule. For example, their organization.
Understand.
Their leader with special reference to
exactly on the contrary. There are verses in the Holy Quran which tell us that not only a woman is fit to rule, but sometimes fittest to rule. Her one single opinion against all the elders under her is superior to them. This is the verdict of the Quran. In reference to Malika Saba, when Solomon, Hadhrat Sulaiman, who is understood to be a king by the Jews and Christians, but we believe him to be a prophet of Allah, when he sent a message to the Queen of Sheba that I advise you to submit. Don't raise arms against my army. You'll be crushed and you will destroy your country. So accept this when this is peace. When she sought advice from her elders, all of them with one accord advised her to not to be cowed by this message. He said, we are very great warriors and we will fight it out. All men were wrong according to the verdict of the Quran. That one woman was right. He said, no, I've heard you, but he is right, Solomon is right. And she said, when great kings enter a people, a country, what they do is they turn their nobles into their means, meanly people, and they